Hello and welcome to Linear Random. Today we're talking about a very interesting topic. We're talking about, is it crime?
Hello, we are Ana and Markeen.
Oh, do we do the intros first?
We need to do intros, man.
We're iconic. We're
God,
already iconic
it's like you
enough.
don't watch YouTubers.
Everyone should already know who we are.
You mean every member of our family that we're gonna dupe into
Anyone
listening
who's
to
worth
our
knowing.
podcast?
And you know what? That's ironic because we're going to be speaking about some people who are definitely worth knowing later on in this, probably.
Definitely some dupers as well.
What is crime? Is crime scaring at a goose at 3 a.m. in a small town near Leicester? Is crime the law allowing you to kill a Welshman for coming over to your village every second Wednesday of the month? What is crime holding spoons too close to a baby's head? All these things and more in today's episode. Let's find out. Now,
Are those actual crimes in the UK?
the spoon one I'm not so sure about, but the others are genuine. There's also one where it's illegal to throw a mattress outside of a window facing a high street at a certain time.
Wow.
Mainly because it did fall and kill someone, and probably some guy got off because he didn't have to. It was like, there's no law. Show me in the rule book where it says I can't throw a mattress outside my window. Show me in the rule book where an orangutan can't play basketball.
It's a good point. And this is why there are ridiculous laws. We've got a couple of them in Portugal as well. I mean, I couldn't... You know this. I don't do research. I do the minimum amount that I can bear.
You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 tabs open right now.
Okay, I have done research, but what I mean is I make use of other people's research.
Ah, gotcha.
I allow other people to do the work, and then I reap the rewards.
Fair enough. Go on then.
So, apparently one of the laws is it is illegal to pee in the ocean. Did you know that? I must admit.
I think everyone's broken that law then.
I have broken that law.
I think I've broken that law.
Yeah. In Portugal, it is illegal to pee in the ocean.
How do they enforce this?
Yeah, they don't really.
Does like a...
I mean, how can you prove it? Like,
yeah.
It's by the time you look at someone's face and you're like, okay, they're peeing. It's already gone. Like, also, you can't prove it.
This imply there was a spate. Like, most laws exist because something happened. There's like always an element of truth behind them. Was there a spate of like public officials, probably powerful people, going into the sea and being like, "This feels oddly warm. Oh no, those group of children to my left."
Probably. I mean, I don't know. Like, it's probably more of an environmental thing. Like,
yeah,
and maybe it's more like. I imagine there's people that have done way worse in the ocean.
On the subject of peeing in things, okay?
Okay.
On that well-known and well-discussed topic.
Yeah.
Did you... Okay, I don't think this exists, but there's always been the legend that there are certain pools that if people were to pee in, due to like a chemical they put in the pool, it would become like violet and you would see it.
Is that true, or is it just
is it an
like
urban legend?
People just don't want you to pee in their pools?
That's
so they're
what
like,
I'm saying.
Don't pee in my pool or I'll be able to tell.
I think we've all heard of this story of like this thing existing, but I've never found a place that actually, claimed to have done it or anyone who's claimed to have seen it firsthand. It's just like this thing that gets spread around. Maybe it's like that, where it's like people they spread around this thing saying it's illegal, but there's no actual.
Slight disclaimer. Again, I did not do my own research. I didn't look into Portuguese laws. I tried to, but sources.
You're like selling your country down the river right now.
Sources were scarce. So what I did was I looked into it as much as I could, like on Google and stuff and articles.
Yep.
And I used other people's research, so I don't know whether these were ever real or if they're still real. I do remember hearing before that it was illegal to pee in the ocean in Portugal.
Wow.
So I do remember hearing it before. I don't know if it's still legal. Illegal. I don't know if it's still true, is what I mean. Any of this, really.
Yeah.
Any of what we're going to talk about
Well, I certainly
today.
hope it's not, because at one point we were in Portugal together, and there was like a bottle of what I thought was water in the fridge. Because why would there be a bottle of something that wasn't water in the fridge in a villa in Portugal? And instead it was seawater with a bunch of
Oh!
with a bunch of like rocks or like
No, it's not.
nuts
It wasn't.
in it.
No, it was neither of those things. It was.
Are you telling me I drank pee?
No, it was seawater, but what was in it was conquilhas, which is basically it's like what's it called?
It's like a peelable nut thing.
No, it wasn't a nut at all.
Oh.
It was like a shell creature that you cook and eat.
Oh, so I was ingesting creatures.
No, because if you had, you would have noticed. What you were drinking was the seawater that we keep them in until we cook them to keep them fresh.
Ah, okay. But yeah, it's still a bit of a surprise.
Anyway.
Apparently it might contain pee.
Well, yes.
Maybe.
It's taken from the ocean, so it's quite possible that it contains pee. Anyway, even if it is still illegal to pee in the ocean in Portugal, I don't imagine it's enforced very often.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's one. Piercings are forbidden before you're 16.
Is that like... Because in the UK, you can get them with your parents' supervision earlier on, but you can't, like, get them by yourself.
I don't have details on the law,
Okay.
so I'm not sure. But all I have is that it's illegal to get piercings before you're 16. Whether with your parents' approval it's okay or not, I'm not sure.
I too remember the epidemic of... It's just in the 90s. Everywhere you looked, there was Portuguese people just pierced up.
Yeah, I know,
like, non-stop. It all went to a head when that...
All these Portuguese people
It all came to a
just...
head when that giant magnet flew overhead of the city and about 300 people were just lost to the magnet.
Lost to the magnet.
Yeah.
Offering ring, this is a weird one, even for me. Please, someone from Portugal tell me whether any and all of these are real. And share any more that you find weird as well, please. Anything for me to avoid doing any sort of work.
Research. Send us in your essays. We appreciate it for this podcast. You will get a shout out.
Offering rings must be declared.
What are offering rings?
So, like, if you're, like, the ones we have from our marriage.
Oh, you mean like engagement and wedding rings?
Any offering rings must be declared, apparently.
Well, so like celibacy rings, or just I like a bit of
a
bit of jewelry on my hand.
I guess.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know to what point it's considered an offering ring. But I know that obviously wedding rings and engagement rings
That weird moment when
part of
you're
that.
going to propose to your missus on a trip to Portugal.
But you
and then
haven't declared the ring.
You get taken aside by the Portuguese custom agent and he goes, "What's this then?"
I'm so sorry, darling. You can't wear it. I haven't declared it.
I haven't declared it. I'm under arrest.
I have the ring, but you can't wear it.
Mm.
You can just look at it until I declare it. Did a little weird rhyme there.
That's
Anyway. Another one. Bear with me, a lot of tabs open on this.
That's right.
Another one is apparently the Portuguese government has an 80-page list. 80 pages of illegal names or names prohibited to name your baby. For example, ovnis, which is the Portuguese word for UFO,
Oh.
is not allowed.
You know what?
It is illegal to name your baby ovni.
You know what? I was initially thinking of like what is like the Portuguese equivalent of Bob. I was like, is Bob really that awful a name? I mean, it kind of is, but still.
Well, Bob is not popular, but like it's well used. It's kind of like John.
It's just not a great name. Sorry for all my Bobs out there. Poor Bob. But like, no, hey, you know what? Not only does it make sense, I want that to be a rule in the UK as well.
What,
right?
illegal names?
Illegal names. You hear there are horror stories. I knew a guy whose initials spelled out CUNT.
Oh, that's just sad.
And
That's
his parents must have known going in
I don't know.
that
Like,
it was
that's
going to spell it out.
Poor planning on the side of the
Tunt
parents.
is bad enough, right? If he was going to call him like Tim, but instead they called him Chris.
Yeah. Anyway, someone please send us that list if you can find it. I did find a few examples on different websites, but I haven't been able to find the full
Family
list.
Guy sketch where it's like Megan, and Meg responds, "No, that's not my name." And he's like, "What? Isn't that what Meg's short for?"
Megatron.
It's Megatron.
Yeah, I know. I have actually watched Family Guy with you several times.
Several times. I'm breaking the law.
But yeah, you would be breaking the law if not again, but like this one is on a completely different country.
Okay.
But you would be breaking the law if you watched Hercules in Greece, apparently.
Oh yeah. Do you want to maybe explain for the listeners?
Well, they don't like Hercules because it's not factually accurate.
The Greek authorities claim that Hercules is so factually inaccurate to the legends that it's based on that it's an insult to Greece, so it's just straight up banned.
It is illegal to watch
I'm
Hercules.
not sure if it still is, but it definitely was.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not again.
Greece is
no
a country,
good research whatsoever. I don't know how much
Greece
of this is true.
a country that's currently going through several recoveries from bankrupts. They really have the might to challenge the all-powerful Disney.
Well, what are they gonna do? Break into your hotel room and be like,
Wait.
"You're watching Hercules."
Stop that! You didn't declare this ring and this video cassette.
No, that's Portugal.
Might be the same. They're very
I
distinct.
don't know.
No, the guy goes to Greece and he's like, "Oh no, I didn't declare my ring." And they go, "That's not why we're here." That, and he points to a VHS cassette of Hercules.
Of Hercules.
You sick, twisted bastard.
There's a lot of different what's the word? Weird facts about Portugal, but we're just talking about laws and crime today, so I will save those for another.
I kind of blew my load too early in the metaphorical sense when it came to giving up weird laws, because I couldn't actually find that many. What I did find instead, going down that avenue, I sort of gave up and moved on to like weird things that have happened when it comes to crimes in the UK.
Okay, we'll accept that.
Okay, so
let's take it to the judges.
Well, shall I do a call to arms in the middle of the podcast? Like, favorite, comment, tell us who should win. All right. No, don't do that. It's real cringy. Okay, so there are two people in the UK who famously hold the title for potentially the worst bank robber ever.
Okay.
Now, the first one, unfortunately, I do not know his name. I've been trying to track him down. All I know is the story behind how he got the nickname.
That's okay. We'll just say that we omitted his name for
his protection.
For anonymity purposes.
Oh no, that means I have to give up with a new name for the next guy. We'll crack on for now. So, the first guy was a Northampton bank robber who, not a very good one, admittedly. Who, before taking his first job, got very, very nervous and anxious. So what he did was he had about 2 bottles of vodka, just to give himself the sort of Dutch courage you need. Because everyone knows when you're about to do a bank heist, what you need is the sweet, sweet embrace of alcohol to give you the sort of...
Naturally.
The quick reflexes you need to pull it off.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, as it may have guessed, he got completely plastered and ended up asking a lady walking by to write him a note, his demand note. Which she wrote, and I quote,
"Oh, wow.
Please hand over some money."
No specified amount.
Just very politely, please. She must have thought he was joking.
Please.
He ended up robbing 3 banks. The first one he went to was, I think it was Nationwide, and the bank teller turned to him and said, "We're busy, clear off." And he left.
And he just left. He accepted that.
He just left.
Before you carry on, sorry, just a question. When was this?
Oh, hang on. 1995.
Okay, carry on.
At the second and third, he fled the moment the alarm was triggered. And this is where things get interesting. After fleeing his third bank, he was arrested by the police, but not for trying to steal from banks, but for being drunk and disorderly in a public place. He ended up appearing before Judge Richard Bay, who said, and I quote, "This case is bizarre in the extreme. No one was in fear of you, and you were not even arrested for the crime you were trying to commit."
Trying being the operative word.
Yeah, apparently he got a year and a half and was forced to take rehab. But that was brilliant. So that is option number one for the worst criminal.
Was
bank
he
robber.
even so he was forced to take rehab. Was he even a drunkard, or did he just get drunk for that one thing?
I'm assuming it was probably to pay off the only thing I have notable in the
Dutch
story
courage,
is
surely.
that 2 bottles of vodka is a bit much, right?
For Dutch courage,
For Dutch
yes.
courage, you know. It implies a
suppose two
certain
is-
amount of like tolerance that has built up beforehand.
I
Well,
suppose.
This guy, who I'm going to call him Cole Terrence as a way to change his name up.
It's okay, just swap it around.
Let's swap it around.
You'll get it.
They'll never know. Was a 61-year-old man living in Liverpool who, over a 2-week period, attempted to rob 6 different bank branches.
Wow.
He would brandish a grey handbrush covered in tape and pretend it was a gun.
Handbrush.
A handbrush. A little brush which you use for painting walls. But it's
No,
not a roller,
I know what a handbrush is.
So what you must do is you must have like taped it up with like a spikier bit towards the end of the brush, or did he do it the other way around? He held the brush end
I don't
and
know.
sellotaped it so like his hand was holding the thing.
I don't know. I can't picture looking at a handbrush and thinking, yep, this looks like a gun.
Well, guess what? That'll come up in a mo. He attempted to conceal his identity with a scarf, but it made it impossible for them to hear him. So in one instance, he just left.
You're just mumbling.
Yep.
Dude, you're just mumbling. What are you trying to say?
Just come out with it, man. Oh, do you know what? I really wish someone would rob the bank. This gets so much more interesting. And he's just like, okay, and he walks off. At one branch, a woman at the till realised he was brandishing a fake gun and told him to sod off. His bank robbing spree started on the 23rd of November, where he robbed an RBS for a small amount of cash and a Lloyd's that did not make off, but he did not make off any cash at that one. Between the 23rd of November and the 3rd of December, he would attempt to rob a Halifax branch and 3 TSB branches. His reason for these crimes was to pay off a £2,000 debt from gambling, and in total he made off with about £700 before he was caught. The judge, I don't written down it, but I remember the quote. The judge wrote, said that, fortunately, you are just not very good at your job, otherwise you would have been given a harsher sentence.
I wonder if the judge felt bad for him. Just like, you're just so awful.
He did mention something about, like, you're 61 years old. This is not a man of your age's sort of game to be getting involved with.
Evidently, clearly, as made evident by his
6 branches, 700
success,
quid.
or lack thereof.
You know, minus the tape and the handbrush, he only made a profit of about 650, probably 680. He was living life high up until over those 2 weeks.
Absolutely.
And that's it. I have more of these, but those were the 2 worst bank robbers.
I have I have an example from Portugal, not where the funnily enough, I haven't found any where the criminal doesn't succeed.
Oh.
But I have found one not doesn't succeed, but you know what I mean, like
Yes.
isn't very good at what they do, as it were. But I have found one where the police are basically like the police from horror movies.
Oh no.
Yeah.
That's not good. Alright, go on, tell us. Let's hear some juicy details.
So basically, apparently in the 1800s, there was a young lady. I don't have a lot of details.
Mm-hmm.
And this is being translated from Portuguese newspaper.
Yep.
This young lady was a thief, basically. She was called, her given name was, can we cut this? While I find it. Her real name was Maria Rosa.
Okay.
They called her Giraldinha. I can hear my mum now hearing this and being like, oh. And basically she was a thief.
Mm-hmm.
She would...
Hang on, when you see mum would hear this, she'd be like, I knew that bitch.
Not in person. My mum's not that old.
Just my mum and her mum were best mates.
Not in person, but I'm sure.
She stole my sweets growing up.
1800s. We're talking here.
Oh yeah. That might be a bit too old for you, mum. Maybe
you
her
think? They weren't actually in the same area. I don't think they lived in the same area, so I'm not sure. But I'm sure my mum will have heard of her.
Okay.
Which is why I'm saying, like, how does my daughter know of this person? Anyway, research.
And internet research. Obviously.
Mostly, yes. So anyway, she was a thief. She was in jail for on and off.
Okay.
For about 2,552 days.
On and off for that amount of time. Okay.
On and off for that amount of time,
so
which
that's
is roughly about 7 years.
I was going to say.
It's roughly about 7 years in and out of jail.
Does she have like did they like stamp her arm, like when you go to a club, so she's in and out as she needed?
Yeah.
She's not a very good thief, by the sounds of it.
Oh, she's a very good thief, but she did get caught a few times.
I'm great at the pinching, not some more of the staying out of sight.
But I do have a story regarding one of the times she was taken in.
Okay.
So apparently at the time, picture the scene.
Okay.
Another criminal had murdered someone, and he was on the run.
All right.
And I'll try to find his name for you. Just give me 1 second. Perdão was his name, apparently.
I bet your mum knows that guy as well.
Yeah, in person.
Perdão? He's my neighbour.
Apparently he, again, 1800s, Markeen. Apparently he'd killed someone.
Okay.
And he was on the run. The police were very keen to find him. So for the first time, according to this newspaper, I'm not sure how accurate this is again, but apparently for the first time, they used a method of searching for someone which had already been used in the US.
Okay.
Which was to offer
it's a reward.
A certain amount of money. Yes, a reward system.
So people weren't just doing this out of the good fortune of their hearts?
No, obviously not.
Damn.
So I think they offered about £50,000. Not pounds.
Pesos?
Escudos.
Scooch.
I think. I don't know.
They offered a big old reward for him.
Because I think I have an animal of some sort in my hair. Anyway.
Just linear random things.
Linear random things, yes.
Comment, favourite, subscribe if you too have an animal in your hair.
An insect of some sort.
Yeah.
Anyway. This guy was on the run and they were offering money for his capture. And all of this was being talked about, all of this and other details on the crime were being talked about at the
police station.
Police station, yes. I was going to say prison, not prison. At the police station where Giraldinha found herself captured after another day of thievery.
She'd pick a pocket and then she'd be like, yes, I've done it. And then she'd stand still and do like the victory pose and jump in the air, freeze frame. And then everyone would just look around and go, it was her!
Basically. And she had to do it every time. She couldn't help herself.
Exactly.
That's how she kept getting caught.
Rubbish at poker.
That's how she kept getting caught. Anyway, so the place where she was sitting in a corner waiting for the police to come and talk to her, because I guess they were too busy looking for this murderer.
Yep.
Whilst she was sitting there, they were talking about details of the crime, I guess.
No.
And at one point, she turned around and said, I know where he is, and declared that they had been intimate.
Oh.
And they would meet up every day in a certain place.
Saucy.
They would meet up every day, and she could lead the police there for the, in exchange for the rewards, and also to be let go.
She sounds like a blimmin', like a kind of Robin Hood type, where it's like she's a rascal, but she's endeared herself to the people or something.
She looked very, I don't know how young she was, but she looked very young apparently, and the police treated her almost like, what's the word I'm looking for?
A young girl, a child?
Yes, but no. Almost like a cat that like keeps, or like a fox that keeps stealing your lettuce, but you're like,
She comes in here, she scratches up the place, she takes a big shit on the carpet, and then she leaves again. I don't understand it. Why do you guys put up with her?
She's so cute. Look at her face.
She's literally scratching a man to death. That's fine. She's cute. Anyway. She wants some milk.
Basically, this is what she was saying. That I like that just from the just from my small description of like what she said to the to the police. You very quickly gathered exactly what an entire like however many pages article took to say she had endeared herself to the police. Pretty much. This is how she kept getting away with stuff.
She's like, you old rascal, come in here. You want to leave early? It's your birthday. Go on then.
Go on then.
Be back before 7 or whenever you feel like it, really. You know, we don't care too much.
So, one of the policemen decided to take her up on it.
Okay.
He gave her the money.
And what?
He gave her the money.
Okay.
They got on a train or something, some sort of public transport, to the place where she said they would meet every day. The public transport was paid for by the policeman.
Of course.
And they went there, and she very cleverly gave instructions to the policeman. She said, you stay here, I'll go in.
Yep.
And you hide so that he doesn't get suspicious. And also so he doesn't get suspicious of me. You wait until we go to the nearby local...
Yeah. Whatever.
Not pub, but like...
bar.
Sort of restaurant.
Okay.
Place. Dashka. You wait until we go in there and we sit down to eat, and then you come in and apprehend him.
Was his name Naive Pete or something?
It was Feijão, which translates to bean.
The absolute bean.
As in Mr.
Mr. Feijão.
I didn't even think of that. Yeah, Mr. Bean.
Do you know what? I was thinking of just like a naive kid, and he's like his first day. He's like, oh jeez, I really want to make a good name with the guys.
It might have been.
I sure hope this turns out well.
Who knows? Might have been young.
And so it's Mr. Bean.
Ages are not mentioned.
I'm a policeman.
So Mr. Bean.
Oh boy, Mr. Bombastic, mega fantastic.
As in, he shall forever now be known.
Yes.
He was told to sit and wait, and then come and
arrest
find
them
them
when they were in the
Come and
restaurant.
find them in the restaurant
Yeah.
and arrest him. He waited for 15 minutes.
A thief would never lie, surely.
Half an hour.
Do you know what? She's just probably taking her time lubricating him up. She'll be out in a minute.
1 hour.
Do you know, I believe in honor amongst people and all good men and women, and she'll be here.
2 hours.
That bitch gone left for my money.
So after 2 hours and a half of waiting,
Yeah.
he went in. And obviously neither of them were there.
Yeah, they scampered, or they were never there at all.
It's not even known if she actually knew the guy.
Yeah. It's one of those.
Perdão.
It's one of those classic things. Like a proper con man or con woman will be able to talk themselves out of any situation. You just need to. She just needs to know the thing that you need. They can do it.
Mr. Bean then became found a new job
Angry
as no, he found a new job as postman.
Bean. So he was boozed off the police force.
Well, I'm not being
Yeah.
funny. Would you want him as a policeman?
You absolute melon. I mean, Bean. How could you?
So yeah, so that's
That's the end of that.
that's one of her stories. There
Wow.
are others. There's a lot more detail into her story, but that was one of my favorites.
Okay, I don't have many in the similar vein on my end. I do have some similar ones that the police screw things up. So I'll go with those, and then we can go back and forth. I'm on my list of police failures. In 1994, the Yorkshire Police infiltrated an armed meeting. Now, you probably don't know, because you probably weren't very aware of domestic terrorism in the UK around 1994. You were 2 or 3 at the time. It's okay. I used to be as naive as you. So, ARM is most widely understood as an acronym for the Animal Right Militia, who famously sent 5 letter bombs to Margaret Thatcher in 1985. So they were a big sort of terrorist organisation. They're still active, but they're much more reduced. I think their last action properly in the UK was they set fire to a Boots in 1996, and they had some other fires in other places which sold leather. So it was well worth trying to track them down. So the police got wind that there was going to be an armed meeting in a village church hall in Yorkshire. None of them seemed to think it would be a bit odd they just publicly display this meeting invite. They did rallies, but usually they weren't like, here, come to this meeting, it's in a church hall, bring fruitcake sort of thing. So apparently about 50 officers were involved. 30 surrounded the place, 20 started making their way to go inside the building and infiltrate the gathering. Initial police reports were very, very confused because there was an awful lot of women at this place, and there was practically no men whatsoever, which seemed a bit odd. Before the police could really get involved, 2 women came out, and they were approached by 2 officers in undercover clothing, and the officers asked them what the nature of the meeting was about, and the women responded with, "Oh, it's about postnatal depression and and new medical techniques and homeopathic therapies." To which the police officer then responded, "Could you hang on? What does ARM mean for you?" At which they responded, "The Association of Radical Midwives." Apparently, the reported operation cost the Yorkshire Police about 50 grand and was a massive, massive cock.
They never thought to question why this was made public.
Or bothered. Apparently, if they'd even just called up to confirm the meeting place, they would have heard on the video, the voice line, they would have done an automatic thing saying, Association of Radical Midwives. By the way, I just love the use of radical in that. That's just amazing.
Radical midwives. I just picture like a midwife with like sunglasses.
Oh yeah, she's on a skateboard and she's delivering a baby to a mum and she's flipping it over in the air. That's the sort of stuff. She's on a dirt bike. The next one I had is actually super ironic because I've seen this photo. I think most people in the UK who grew up in the 90s have seen this. In the 1990s, there was an ad campaign done by the government that was fairly popular, and it was a cardboard, or it was a picture of a police officer standing in front of a criminal activity, usually thievery, going on behind them. And they had their arms crossed, looking very serious, and they would be captioned in front of them going, "Watch out, there are thieves about." And if you're a kid growing up, you all saw these. What I didn't know, and I think most people didn't, was that the man committing the crime in the photo and the police officer were one and the same.
Really? They used the same person?
This was not intentional.
What do you mean this wasn't intentional? How can it not be intentional?
The photo was from a CCTV camera in Yorkshire recording a man stealing some pencils and stockings from a store. It just so happened that no one noticed until after the photo had been made as part of this ad campaign that the man who had stolen that stuff was also in fact the police officer in the anti-prevention of thievery and crime division who stood as the model for the photo.
I would love to have been a fly on the wall of that conversation.
How
Whoever
amazing.
saw the similarities and phoned in, I hope so. I hope it was a conversation. I hope it was a conversation. I hope someone phoned in and was like, "Hi, you guys do know you've got him already, right?"
He's right there. He's in the photo.
He's in the photo.
I'm very confused. You use him for the police as well. It's very confusing. If there is audio of this, I beg of someone to please send this to us.
Oh, please. There
has to have been a public inquiry into it. There has to have been.
I would love to have heard that conversation. Like, by the way, you do realise it's him.
There is one other one which you sort of remind me of. In the similar case of Mr. Bean, essentially.
Okay.
The one I don't have the notes of this one, so some of this might be wrong. But there was a big social program in the 90s to try and get it so that because people who went to prison more often and still do are people who have just left prison. If you've gone to prison once, you're way more likely than anyone else to go back to prison just because you're more likely to commit crimes. That's generally what happens. And to avoid this, one of the things that most science should be on is there needs to be like re-socialization programs so that you can be reintroduced to society and become a functioning member. So in the build-up to this particular guy's release in the 90s, the way that it worked was a prison guard would take him out to a city. In this case, it was Kingston upon Thames, where we went to university. Yeah. I know, right?
Stop giving details away from our life, please.
They'll never know. They won't find out the real secret. I'm actually an Icelandic prince.
Do you need me to send you money?
I need you to send me your salmon. I need salmon.
Salmon?
Salmon.
Why?
Because I'm in Iceland and we eat a lot of fish.
I'm pretty sure there's fish in Iceland.
I need more fish.
In the Iceland supermarket.
I need more fish. Not the Iceland supermarket. Anyway, you no idea how much that upset me. You got me with that.
Do you hear the all the way across from like time and space continuum?
I think I heard our children saying it right now. Somehow in the far future, it's echoed back to us.
I can hear several people listening to this already going.
Mummy, I see. I hear people. So they went to Kingston and they went to a hotel and the guy was going to stay there for a day and then explore the town, and the prison guard would stay with him to obviously make sure he didn't run off. As part of it, they went to the hotel bar, and the prisoner said to the guard, "I'm going to need to re-socialise and get back to society." And he goes, "Yes, that's the point of this visit. Well, I'm probably going to need to have a drink or two, get back into the habit." And he went, "Yeah, I don't disagree with that." So he ordered himself a brandy and had one of them. And then he went to the prison guard, "I'm quite possibly going to have more than one when I reintroduce myself to society. So can I have like 2 or 3? And the prison guard said, "Yeah, sure, go ahead."
Oh, God.
Now, the prison guard is getting along, having a great time, because while the prisoner's ordering drinks, so is he. Because this is his day. He's going to go to the hotel room as well next door, so he can keep an eye on him, and that's it.
Why?
So...
Don't get yourself drunk. You're the police.
So they... So they're both getting plastered, and at one point, the prisoner goes, I'm just going to go to the bogs, I'll be back in 5 minutes.
Oh, God.
About 10 minutes later, he comes back. His pants are completely stuffed with thousands of pounds. Pound notes. Sorry, I should reiterate that.
Okay.
Pound coins. That'd be interesting.
Yeah,
Hilarious.
that would be very heavy.
You just hear it.
Also very heavy.
We gotta go. Leg day all day. So I don't know exactly what happened next, but basically, for whatever reason, the prison guard had to take the prisoner back to prison, but he was unaware of the fact that the prison had obviously robbed the place.
Yeah.
So on their way back, the prison guard got pulled over by the police and was arrested for drunk driving.
Oh, God.
And the prisoner was arrested because the police were on the lookout for him because he'd robbed a bank and stolen thousands of pounds in the 10 minutes he was gone.
Oh, wow.
I don't think that guy kept his job for much longer in the prison.
No, I think he also became a postman.
Yeah, he also a postman.
Wouldn't it be awesome? Would it be hilarious if he actually was a postman now?
Oh, I'd love it. He's probably the guy who delivers to us sometimes. It'd be amazing. Someone gives you a bit of a shifty look when I'm walking down, you know?
I think that would have been too big of a coincidence.
Go on then, what's this one? Who's this Jose guy that you've got up on your screen?
Jose.
Jose! He's a supporter of Arsenal, we've got to stop him. Anyway.
José do Telhado, Zé do Telhado. It's
Say that twice real fast.
Translated, it would be something along the lines of Jose from the roof.
As opposed from Jose from my back garden.
Or of the roof.
Or Jose from just down the street.
Something like that. But yes, that was his name.
Jose de Caro.
Not like. I don't think do Telhado is his surname. I think it was just like a nickname.
I mean, depending on the era, because like in the UK, there's a lot like John. The fact that there's so many people called Smith is because their profession was Smith.
Yeah.
So it just sort of stuck.
I get it, but no, I don't think that.
Okay.
But anyway, he was a Portuguese bandit. This is a very brief one.
A Portuguese bandit.
A Portuguese bandit.
How is one a bandit in Portugal?
They steal things.
Yeah, but are they like riding a horse, firing a gun in the air?
Oh, I don't know.
Drinking tequila.
No, you're thinking
adopting harmful Mexican stereotypes.
Yeah, you're thinking of Mexico.
Or
and a stereotypical Mexico of that.
Or is he like a cool bandit where he just sort of stands in the middle of the road with a gun and is like...
I don't know. There's not a lot of detail given. But basically, he was a part of the army.
Okay.
And he took part in a lot of different
what campaigns and stuff?
Campaigns, revolts, revolutions,
okay.
That sort of thing. And for his bravery in action, he was awarded a Knight of the Order of the Tower and Sword.
Yeah, sounds cool.
Apparently his faction lost.
I'm guessing there was some sort of civil war at the time and his faction was
something like that,
okay.
Yeah. And he collected debts of taxes that he couldn't pay.
Mm-hmm.
So he was expelled from the army and became a bandit. And apparently he was regarded as the Portuguese equivalent of Robin Hood.
Ah. Okay, that's cool.
I don't know whether he actually stole from the rich to give to the poor. But then again...
He stole from the rich to enrich himself.
But then again, the UK also doesn't know if Robin Hood stole from the rich to give to the poor. So...
I mean, do you know what? Considering... I mean, I'll say this. I don't know a lot about Portugal. But from what I get from the people...
Neither do I.
From what I've met of the people, you have an extreme dislike for the rich and powerful.
Yes.
Don't get me wrong, we also have a dislike for the rich and
That's
powerful.
because there's a big discrepancy in Portugal. I don't know if it's more so than in other places, but there's a big discrepancy in Portugal between the rich and the poor.
Yeah. And, like, I don't think it's the same in the UK, because I think in the UK we still hold on to the promise of, classes are good, you can move up your classes and it'll be fine. But yeah, it seems like he would be, even if it was just stealing for himself, people would still be like, bravo, mate, good show, good show. Go rob from that wanker tax collector down the street. Be much happier with him.
Yeah,
out
I'll agree to that.
Yeah.
I can see that. Yeah, I think that's true. I think I would agree with that. But yeah, there's a lot of there's several plays and novels, and I think there's even a movie about him.
We need to find that movie. If someone could find the movie and send it to us, we'd much appreciate it.
But yeah, there's not a lot of detail. I read the Portuguese. No, I read the English version. Because basically,
it's a tough read.
well, no, but like I read the English version of the details, so there's not a lot.
There's not a massive amount. There's probably,
Because I was sort
next
of
time we
in a
go to
rush.
Lisbon, we need to go to that library coffee shop place. I'm sure they'll have a book on him.
Maybe, I don't know. I'm sure I
Right.
can find something online if I really look for it. If we want to go into more detail in later podcasts, if anyone is listening
As you
and they want to know more about it.
yeah, we can find out and we'll do a podcast on it. So, in my sort of list of sort of heroes, people that I'll sort of aspire to be one day, in a similar sort of vein to Jose de Tilhado.
Yeah.
Thank you. I have a list of the easiest crims to catch. So my first on the list is a man called Michael Colster. His crime, it was that he stole some trainers, some socks, and some boxer shorts. However, he was identified instantly. Would you like to guess as to why he was identified instantly?
Was he wearing them?
Nope. And it wasn't because he was nude either. He was 7'5". He's the tallest man in Ireland. He had to stoop to get through the door. Instantly identified.
Well, yeah, he stood out in a crowd.
He had literally he had everything going towards his favour, but he was a fucking Sasquatch.
Oh, reasons why you shouldn't be a criminal.
I've got more like this. German bank robber. Unfortunately, I don't have his name. It was in German. I'm not going to pretend to pronounce it or even understand how to look for it. His crime was attempting bank robbery. So I kept this list, my early list, to worst bank robbers in the UK. I'm sure there are dumber elsewhere. This would be a tight contender, but he only did one bank and not several, so that would be different for me. So this guy, he burst into a bank in Berlin and screamed, hand over the money! The staff, reasonable, worried about things, said, do you want a bag? But he responded, damn right it's real! He was, in theory, holding a gun. That's something in here as well.
Yeah.
But that sort of made the manager think that maybe he was
Maybe
deaf.
what? Oh.
So he set off the alarm, which is a massive klaxon alarm. If you've ever been near a bank when the alarm's gone off, you can hear it from miles around. The guy gave no indication of having heard it. And occasionally, he would just yell, like, I'm a train killer! About 5 minutes after the alarm went off, police came in, walked up behind him without him even noticing and arrested him.
Again, reasons why you shouldn't be a bank robber.
Now, my last guy potentially has the most reason as to why you shouldn't be a criminal. If a 7'5" guy and a deaf guy wasn't reason enough.
I feel like we are going up in
Yes.
Cause being tall, okay,
Right.
you can still do it, but you probably shouldn't because you're going to be
He'll
easily
be quick
identifiable.
on his feet, admittedly, because he's got more leg.
Yeah, but easily identifiable. Being deaf, I mean, you're not going to be able to hear the police coming up behind you. You probably shouldn't be a criminal.
Very important factor.
Okay, so what's the worst one?
The worst one is Henry Headbanger Smith.
Great name.
Of Lincolnshire.
I mean, if you're going to be a criminal, Headbanger is pretty much up there with nicknames.
Absolutely. He had stolen a stereo from a car and was identified by a taxi that saw him running by. Police found him within an hour without the stereo. He claimed his girlfriend didn't like it after he'd stolen it and he chucked it away somewhere. How they been able to identify him? He had headbanger in capitals tattooed across his forehead. No identifying marks. Tattoos, already a bad thing if you're going to be a criminal. But having your name tattooed on your forehead.
Why not wear like a mask that covers your forehead so people don't know it's you?
Why
it's
not?
like they want to get caught.
Obviously, not thinking very through. But that is my list of easiest crims to catch and personal heroes. I'll make myself deaf over the next year and I will get stilts and a tattoo and then become the true easiest crim to catch.
And
Becoming my hero.
poke holes in your ears.
Poke holes in my ears, yep. I'll get some piercings as well in case a giant magnet comes by and flies into the sky. He was very easy to catch. He had a certain magnetism to him.
I do have a few more, but I need a break because I need a drink. So
we're going to pause quickly. But for you, it'll only be a second. For us, it'll be eternity.